So, hello, good evening. I'm especially happy to sit here finally after all this long, difficult year. I'm really happy to have you here now with me on the stage. And thank you for coming and for joining us tonight. Last night, we learned a lot about long-durational performance and your institute, the Marina Abramović Institute, during your very informative and insightful lecture. One focus, of course, of the exhibitions are the reenactments, and I would like to come to this topic later on. First, I would like to start with your most recent work, the Balkan Erotic epic, which had its premiere a month ago, or more than a month, on the 9th of October. 3 weeks ago, okay. And it was on the same day when we opened up here the show, so that's why I couldn't come to Manchester and you couldn't be here. As I understood, it is a work in which many themes that run through your work can be found: eroticism, ritual, sex, the Balkans, religion, death, pain, I think life, and so on. Could you please tell us more about it?
Wow, that's a big subject. You know, in my work, I take a long time to make something. When I made the opera Seven Deaths of Maria Callas, it took me 30 years. Actually, from the time when I was 14 and just heard her voice, I had this idea. This Balkan erotic epic started 2005 with a small film of 12 minutes. But in my dream, I always like to make something really big and something extremely autobiographical. And then, you know, it's always question of opportunity, place, time, money, etc. And now, 25 years later, I had all this dream fulfilled. So Manchester Festival, it's very known in actually world that they create new work and they really have open mind to make something which is kind of new territory and basically to show new forms of art. And they have a courage to actually work with artists without big censorship. This was the only way I could do this piece, it was there. But then this piece, which I was thinking that's going to be incredibly negative criticism, I already was talking to Staschen to make the book only without negative criticism, we're going to rise because of this work, actually totally disappointed. Everything was positive. Actually, New York Times, the Guardian, the Financial Times, the Art News, everybody actually think this was actually great. This was total surprise for me because the piece is very, very, very unusual. I wanted to do something to study Balkan, to study all ancient rituals from Bulgaria, Romania, Albania, Montenegro, the Serbia, Macedonia, part of Turkey and Greece, and to look into these rituals, what pagan rituals from 4th century, 11th century, 12th century, 15th century, 16th and so on, which actually they use very explicit sexual organs, vagina and phalluses, in order to connect with the gods and some kind of, you know, the basic, questions of nature, where we come from, who are we, how to make the childbirth, how to make cabbage grow better, what you do if you wanted to have the childbirth. Very, very practical things. They use actually our genitals. And then I understood that one energy in our life, the basic energy in our life, is sexual energy. This is the energy in how we are born and, you know, created. But then it's really important how we actually manifest this energy. This energy can go into the love, tenderness, giving, spirituality, religion, or can go into aggression, violence, brutality, and hell. Really, depends how this energy was used. But this is the basic energy of human body. So, I come from communism. But my grandmother hated communists. She was absolutely orthodox, very religious, and I spent still 6 years with her, which was always in the church. So I was really exposed to these opposites, rituals and communism. And this piece really came from the deep, actually my own background, but also very, very kind of autobiographical. It was so important to do this piece. I could not this piece do any earlier. I didn't have perspective, I didn't have wisdom, I didn't have right distance to this work, and I have to get into this age now that I could do this work. It was incredibly emotional for me to actually do it. Now the performance is traveling everywhere. In Barcelona in January, it's coming to Berlin, it's coming to Rebit Festival, it's coming to France, it's coming to Luxembourg, it's coming to Park Avenue, New York. Actually, everybody wants. And it's very, very plain nudity. I mean, literally, mostly, we are talking about 120 people. It's a huge work. It's the biggest one in my life.
And I think music plays an especially important role also, because you told me that you have a composer and he has written the music especially for this piece. And we also learned yesterday that you link performance and its reenactments also to musical interpretations like Erik Satie and Karl-Heinz Stockhausen or Wagner. Do you think that music, because music has always a notation and performance, I mean, there are some performers who did this.
You know,
normally,
with the pure performance, I actually never use anything. It was just really emptiness. It's about being present. It's about really simplicity. But right now, I was interested actually to put much more elements into this. And yesterday, I was giving this lecture about history of long durational performance art, because it's not something that I invented. I was starting with Wagner. I mean, Nibelung Rings, it was 15 hours performance, but the Wagner have a very strict instructions to everybody, or the cast, what they have to eat, how much they have to sleep, what is the way that can interact of the, take water in order to be able to do this 15 hours. Stockhausen was 29 hours. John Cage create organ to have to play 629 years. I mean, Satie make the vexation with 840, tones repeating constantly. So there's a lot of history of that long duration. Long duration music is really important because actually the one of the results of long duration work is repetition, but it's based into the kind of state of mind that you go into the trance. This is why all rituals are always repeated. This is why this piece of me is 4 hours and is also based on repetition.
So maybe let's go back briefly to your beginnings. The performance scene, as you already mentioned, in the 70s was so different than from today. I think it would be very interesting to hear of your beginnings in Beograd and in Belgrade with your performance work in the early 70s.
We go back now?
We're going back now. We start. No, we have to go a little bit back.
Back is a long time ago.
Back is a long time.
We are talking, I have literally 60 years of career, my dear. Performance was nobody a territory ever. Nobody even considers art to start with. But one thing that I want to say, going back, there's very few people who had different way of performance, and they had the kind of possibility to actually see as a really important form of art. This was the Apple Gallery in Amsterdam and Krisingen Gallery right here in Innsbruck. She was really somebody who had a kind of intuition to work with the most difficult artists that you can possibly imagine at that time, and that was really what my first exhibition was in Innsbruck. I was 23, gallery exhibition. I was literally 23 years old at that time, and I never forget this. So that's my relation to this country is pretty profound historically. And, everything we've done in those period of time, because of political correctness today, nothing is possible. We can't do any of this. Everything is restriction. Everywhere is laws that you can't do this in the museum, you can't do that in the museum. There are rules everywhere. Everywhere in the world you got is the rules. So what we have to do as our artists, or we have to break these rules and you get some kind of freedom to do what we want, which I did done now in Manchester, because everybody was saying to me, what you try to do is not possible. And if you say to me no, this is for me just new beginning. So I say, let's do it. If I fail, I fail, but I want to try. And actually worked. But wait, one more thing I have to add. I'm sorry, you have lots of questions. But anyway, one more thing that I have to add. You know, I always believe, you know, really deeply that the good work have to come from suffering, that artists have to suffer, that we have to have all this, you know, difficult time. If you look history of art, every artist have this horrible history of suffering. I was always thinking, if you have bad childhood, that's good possibility to be good artist, because you have something to do about it. If you're happy, this is state not to change. What you do with happiness, nothing. You're just happy, but it's not creative. But now, with this new piece, not only that I'm not suffering, I'm enjoying myself, number one. And number two, I actually add the humor. In my real life, I'm very funny, but then in the work, I'm not. This is the first time that I put, you know, humor and the work and happiness together. It's totally new territory for me.
But you changed also, I mean, this you changed. Okay, no, the artist doesn't have to suffer. But there was also the manifesto, and I think this was a manifesto of a whole generation, is to not repeat and not to document performances. And this you changed really in a really groundbreaking way in 2005 with your show at the Solomon Guggenheim Museum with 7 easy pieces. And you started to re-perform, just as an information, you do a re-performance of 5 artists, like Beuys, Joseph Beuys, also Valley Export piece, Bruce Nauman, Aconci, Gina Pane. And you re-performed also the piece you did 75 at the Galerie Grinzinger. I think this was the first and the last time you re-performed one of your performances. And I think you really changed a lot in performance history and also in art history, because you really posed the question, okay, how we can preserve performances and how we can make them more visible and find them a place in art history.
Okay, I was so angry. Oh my God, how angry I was. You know, as an artist, you're doing performances, and what you have people repeating and actually stealing your work into the MTV, into the fashion, into the design, into the theater, film, everywhere. They will never give you rights that actually which original material come. Even young artists those days, they will copy older artists, and then young critic, without knowing history, they will write how wonderful a new piece is. And it's not true. And that I really, you know, think that was so much injustice done with the actually early performance work, because people had, you know, great pictures, videos not great quality, it was everything. So you don't really, you know, you really don't have really right documentation and proper documentation. And then I decided, it took me actually 7 years to get permission Guggenheim to do this, because I only want to do this in Guggenheim. I wanted to do the Guggenheim because the Guggenheim also, architectural Guggenheim was made to show spiritual work. And I wanted to make it, to see this work from the spirals, from the different points of view. And then I say, okay, I'm going to make the 7 easy pieces. Easy pieces, this is a metaphor, they're very difficult, but just put it, you know, there was, but also it was already 5 easy pieces film, so I could not say 5, I have to be 7. So 7 easy pieces, and I took the artists that I never saw their work, but I was fascinated about the work, and I want to re-perform this work and to see how I can actually, you know, feel and have this experience myself. And then I remember that some are dead, some alive, and I need permission. I wanted to do this properly. I want to show people how to do it. Even today, if you wanted to perform Bach and you make techno Bach, you still have to pay rights. But if you want to performance, you don't pay any rights to anybody. So I wanted to ask every single artist, including Valley Exporter, she knows I asked her for the rights to perform this piece. She gave me the rights. I asked Joseph Beuys' widow, because she, you know, he was dead. She didn't give me rights. So she sent to the Guggenheim letter, absolutely not. As I'm interested in no, so I took a little suitcase in February, very kind of snowing day. I arrived to her door, I knock on the door, and she opened the door and she said, Frau Abramović, my answer is no, but you can have coffee. I say, I don't drink coffee, I want tea. 5 hours later, I got permission. And But I got permission because I explained to her why it's good, because they will copy it anywhere. At least I can show original material and I do my own, my own version. Then, then I done the Vito Conci, I done Bruce Nauman, I done the Gina Pane. Gina Pane was another interesting. She was dead too, and the agency said to me, there was one piece especially I want to perform, but they want to give me only one part of this piece, which is exactly 27 minutes, lying on the iron bed with the candles burning underneath. And I say, okay, I take what I can take. So I take this 27 minutes. But my version to this, I show original version, but my version was put actually time. I want to do something long duration, so every single piece of everybody, doesn't matter if there was 1 hour, 3 or whatever, I perform all of them 7 hours. So that was hard, lying on this iron bed 7 hours, taking one piece of 27 minutes and turning to 7 hours. But I did it. I come from Montenegro. We are tough.
So as a last topic, I would like to address the topic of spirituality, because you have dealt intensively with this issue, and especially with female spirituality. And you can also see this in the exhibition. And I think a decisive moment was the Great Wall Walk. It was not maybe the beginning, but I think it was maybe a turning point, being in China for 90 days, walking alone, more or less alone, the Great Wall. And we have also in the exhibition a chapter titled Energy from Nature. But what exactly does mean this? Could you just explain a little bit more about this? Nature and the energy. I think the energy is the...
when the people ask me, who is inspiring me? And then which artist is inspiring me? I really love artists that I adore. I definitely adore Van Gogh. I love Rothko. I love Malevich. I like Marcel Duchamp. Kind of in the past. But really, they don't inspire me. Because artists are always inspired by something else. So that means you're directly inspired by second hand. Why I should be inspired by second hand? I should go to the source. Source is nature. I'm inspired by nature, and I'm inspired with the old indigenous culture. This is why I decided when I left, Yugoslavia, that I went first to Australia, and I spent one entire year with the Australian Aborigines in the middle of desert, in the middle of nowhere. We're talking temperature plus 55 degrees Celsius, and they turned down cold 42 in the night. We are talking hell there. But I went there 1 year. I went more than 25 years to study Tibetans with the shamans in Brazil. All of these religions and all these cultures interest me to understand how body function and how we don't know anything about body, how everything works with mind. We don't understand how actually spirit works. We don't understand how we can, stop and rise temperature in your body in the snow. We don't understand how we can really, create the state of emptiness that we can understand, life here and now. All of this stuff I learned there. And that's how actually, when I walked the Great Wall of China, public was not there, but I understood that there's a direct connection between me walking and the ground I was walking on. I felt different in a walk on the rocks, would have the clay ground or the quartz or the iron or the copper. It was different. And end of every evening, I have to go to the village, and I will ask always translator that I can speak to the oldest person on the village. Sometimes I had the people 110, 115 years old. They always tell the same story. They talk about dragons. The Great Wall was actually mythological construction to represent Milky Way on planet Earth and follow geodetical lines. So it was such an interesting thing that actually all these dragons was energetic ley lines that actually I was follow. So coming back and splitting with Ulay, I saw the very big opportunity to make entire new body of work, what I call transitory objects. Transitory objects was not sculpture. They are actually the chairs, tables, elements, objects, that the public can use them with the crystals in order to get to that kind of state of mind. And crystals are the most, the simplified computer of our planet. Just now, the NASA, to send a message to our civilization somewhere in outside space, there was a little chip made out of the quartz, which entire actually fitting our knowledge of our civilization. So if you connect with the power of crystal, you can actually get this knowledge. And this, to me is fascinating. So I'm interested to mix the science, but also mix the ancient culture. Because which is interesting between science and spirituality is that in the spirituality you have intuition and you know things. But science don't believe till they find actually the proof that this exists, and it's always happening. First there was a Dogon tribe. Dogon tribe somewhere in Africa. There was rituals. There was always worshipping the little Saturn around the Neptune, which nobody knew they exist. And only when they came this very big, the telescope, that they actually see that the Neptune have not only one moon, but have two moons. But these guys knew forever. How they knew? So we always need proof in order to believe. And spirituality and artists have an intuition. That's the big difference.
Thank you, Marina. I think I think the sentence which...
A little joke. No joke.
No, but please.
I will end with joke.
Okay. Then you tell the joke. No. Because she loves to tell jokes. I think, the sentence or the work we put in the beginning of the show, the spirit in any condition does not burn, is maybe a good closing sentence for our talk here. Or you want to add something, or maybe a joke, or...
I said the sentence,
yes.
The spirit doesn't burn in any condition. It's really interesting, this, again, scientific really knowledge, then when the human die, we are 21 gram lighter. And this 21 gram lighter is the energy which leaves the body. So body is mortal, but energy is not. So I always think that the energy never burn. If the people have more energy, they have more effect, and more things to live on this planet. But it's all about energy. We are, disposable, but energy is immaterial. And this is why performance will never die. Because power of performance is incredible. Because it's time-based art, you have to be there to experience, but it's highly emotional and is about energy dialogue. Energy is everything. And energy you can't touch, you can't place on the wall, you can't buy, you have to feel it. And this is why it's such economically difficult to sell. Performance, zero difficult, because what you're really dealing with pure energy. If you're a young artist, you want everything. You are so insecure. You wanted to have maybe object, maybe projection, maybe music, maybe this and that, and performance. But when you really get to my age now and do so long this work, you don't need anything at all. Absolutely. I need you and me. And you can make this energy dialogue possible right here, right now. And that's the power of performance that other art doesn't have.
Thank you.